Okay, so it's time for our parenting segment to start. Now, we have Prudence Daniels with us. Now, she's a dynamic entrepreneur and professional early childhood practitioner. She's passionate about child development, and we're going to be discussing the importance of routine in a child's development. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me all the time.
Okay, so for those that don't understand exactly what routine means, could you give a little breakdown?
Okay, so routine is just a sequence of activities that you do regularly. Okay. And experts say that routines, become a habit. Okay. And it takes for you to have carried out the activity for at least 66 times.
Wow.
Before you form that habit. Yeah.
So routines become habits?
Yes, routines become habits, and they're actually for children. They actually shape you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that we should advocate routines, especially in our own part of the world, because children become a little bit discomforted, like uncomfortable when they don't know what to expect. Okay. From very little, when you establish routine, because we are introducing the children to the world, yeah. Routines help them to know what to expect and be calm. So it gives them that emotional peace, even for children who are not able to speak yet or express themselves yet. Routines help them to know what's coming next, okay. And then they are relaxed.
Okay, so yeah. For the newer parents out there, they probably have infants, babies crawling, around the house, or a baby crawling around the house at this point. When do you think is the best time to start putting a routine in place?
Oh, routine should start immediately from when the child is born. Okay. Diaper time, sleep time, meal times, play time, daddy's time. Everything should have a routine because the child is just absorbing the world. So it's what you present to the child that the child actually lives by and forms their personality by. So routines helps, especially when it's consistent, helps to build a structure around the child. Children are known to test boundaries, no matter how little they are. Okay. So routines actually help children to work with you as a parent, because when you set the boundaries and they know there's a consequence of breaking those boundaries, it helps them to retreat. It's just like in Montessori, we advocate freedom within limits. Okay. So it's the same actually for routines. Okay. Yeah, routines, but then
boundaries.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to touch on the average young, I'm going to say infant, toddler age now, because there are parents who are presently going through sleepless nights because these children wake up routinely. They've just, they just wake up at night for whatever reason. Most of the time you ask the question, why does baby cry? To answer that question, there are different things that cause a baby to cry or a child to cry or be agitated. But then how does a parent create such a routine that's more comfortable for them?
See, I'm smiling already because as a parent, I would say if you're having a hard time, you actually brought it on yourself. Wow. Because if you knew better, children will respect the routine you create for them. Okay. So, for example, if a child is to be fed, say, every 2 hours, the mother can plan around before those 2 hours to sort themselves out, rest some bit, change their clothes, have a bath, and then there is no disorganization. There's a bit of structure, and the mother is not ruffled up.
So I love that word, ruffled up, because there's something my mom always says, the parents are in charge, not the child.
Exactly.
A lot of babies have sort of taken over. They've taken over the home. Kids have taken over such that parents don't feel like they're in charge anymore.
That's because the parents allow them. So a child doesn't know anything from when they are born. So you actually bring them in. So if you bring them in a structured manner, they will live with you in a structured manner. Your child should never cry, really. When they cry, it should be like an expression of attention, But then if you follow routine on when diapers change, when, like, our school is the crèche is very quiet. People wonder. I've heard of crèches giving medication to children to sleep. You don't need all of that. If you have everything all timed out, the child will even respect that. And when it's time to sleep, for example, the floor bed, the child just crawls to the floor bed and lays and sleeps off. I never really needed to pat my children to sleep. Even though I wasn't a Montessori expert then, I was a Montessori parent. My kids always, you know, went to bed smoothly. And it's good to separate them from you in time, because parents who just live by allowing the children to take over their lives don't do very well.
Okay, so there's a parent now that's just realizing all this, you know, is basically because they've not put a structure in place. They're watching us right now, and their child is probably climbing on their head as they're watching. What can they do? Where do they start from?
They can start now. They can start by timing the food, the change, the bath time. They can start now. And the beauty of it is that the moment you implement structure, children, they learn faster than adults. They are going to, you know, take it in immediately, and they are going to work with you. So they can actually start now.
Some children are stubborn, though.
Yes, so it's not easy. Children don't have a perception of time. Like when you say in 30 minutes, they don't understand how to break down that 30 minutes. But when you introduce routine, like we're going to do this activity, naturally, there is an internal clock that helps them to conform. You know, and that clock, it works with every children all over the world. That's why they crawl at the same time, walk at the same time, about the same time, they tooth about the same time. So as a parent, once you start implementing routine, children just get it.
Okay, so I'm about to wrap this up now, but you know, there's some early learners, they've just started a school, and schools have different routines. Now, is it advisable that a parent sort of implement the routine of the school from the beginning, or do they just adjust the child when they get to school? Okay,
so as a parent, I would probably first make early inquiries, get the school's routine, and begin to do like baby steps from home. So my child doesn't automatically bumps into it. You know, more like autopiloting. You program the child to be ready. And then when it's time, they just smoothly glide in.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Ochukwu, again, and hopefully someone at home has learned a thing or two. We'll be online with our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. If you have any questions, we'll do what we can to answer them. We're going to be heading for a quick break now, but we'll be back after this.